to the High Queen podcast.
Prepare to embark on a journey through books you'll fall in love with, as well as the leading ladies who inspire our own stories.
Our friendship blossomed from pageantry to page turners, sparking a desire to show other women that they too can be their own main character.
I'm Miranda,
And I'm Autumn.
and together we'll lead you through books of all genres from epic fantasy series, romance, all levels of spice, even to autobiographies of real life heroines.
Now, we are some passionate bitches. So remember, this podcast is rated R and prepare your ears. It's time to celebrate the heroines who redefine what it means to be brave and bold.
So grab your books, beverage, and bestie and crack open that book to page 362. And let's do a little check in with each other. Good morning. It's morning
Good
for us.
morning. Yes, that's true. Hey, good morning. So, yes, I have spent this past week just like grinding away with this book. I loved every second of it. We'll talk about that more. And
Yeah.
what else in my other life? Oh, I my other life, like I have two lives. In the rest of my life, I finished up Bridgerton, so I'm like so prepared
Yay.
for this month. And I've added Heated Rivalry to my TBR, which it was kind of already there anyways, but now I'm like, ugh, I feel behind. Like I need to read
Right.
it so I can watch the TV. And yeah, I'll get to it one day.
I know. I know. I feel the same way. I'm like, I want to jump on the bandwagon. I like am on the bandwagon. Why am I saying band weird? Bandwagon. Just call me Moira Rose. But I know I see all of this stuff and I'm like, I get the premise, but I don't get the backstory and I want the backstory. And like,
Mhm.
I work for a hockey team too. So
Yeah, that's
now when
right.
I'm at work, like all I see is Hudson and Connor.
Love it. Love it.
So I need to hop on the bandwagon. I cannot speak this morning.
Just go for it. It is how you say it now.
Alexis, Autumn. Uh okay, I was just scrolling through social media for a few minutes before we got started. Like we all do. Do book titles, and this is not a dig at anybody, but do book titles ever make you so intrigued yet feel so cringy at the same time? Like
Oh,
I just
100%.
Yeah, okay. I just
A
stumbled
hundred
upon one
percent.
called Psycho Fae, and I'm so intrigued. Psycho Fae sounds so interesting, but there was something about the cover and like the art that I was like, what, what is this? We have gone down such a deep, dark hole of loving fairies, and I'm not mad about it. I would read
Listen,
Psycho Fae.
yeah, I think we just have to,
We
accept
accept
that
it.
we are who we are. We love what we love. It is what it is.
This is a safe space for Psycho Fae loving
Ah,
ladies, gentlemen, and everybody.
right? I mean, speaking of loving Faye, I think we should get into these chapters.
They're so good.
Listen,
They're so
listen. Our
good.
initial impressions, okay? How we just feel like right away we finished our reading. How did we feel reflecting really quickly? I felt hot, bothered. Cue the R&B music. I love these chapters so much. There was such a plethora of adventures at like
Mm.
every turn. And I actually found myself like reading my chapters, okay, then going to bed, closing my eyes, and reliving them like play by play so I can enjoy them again and know not just the spicy chapters, but like all of them. Okay.
I agree. I do. This chunk has so it's just so good for so many reasons. Like, yes, the spicy portions are fantastic. And like the sexual tension in this chunk. I mean, and we get a
Yes.
little bit of release, but not fully, right? Like turned up tenfold. And the in scene, God, we love that trope. We do. Like under the hewn city, all of it. But yes, the adventure that comes with it. And I love too, like almost how even more lighthearted that Rhys and
Mm,
Feyre become with each other. Like, yeah, there's sexual tension, but there's a deep friendship too. And speaking
yeah.
of friendship, before we get into this little bit of a summary, but it's a deep dive, let's be honest, every week, Feyre starts referring to the inner circle as her friends, like
I
actually, like
know.
saying, thinking the word friends. And I'm like, yes, girl. Yes.
Yeah,
Live and be happy.
I know. I really did enjoy that as well. But I guess we should go ahead and dive in. Yeah. So here's what
Yes.
happened in our chapters that we went through, in case you forgot where we started. Okay. Because it's
Yeah.
so easy to do that by the time you get to the end. We actually left our last chapter in a literal hot, humid mess of the summer court. And we find that we may not have said goodbye, but that for sure Tarquin knew what went down. Cue the blood rubies, right? 3 of them to be exact. Rhys is pretty beat up about it and sad that he missed out on the chance to have his first friend outside of the
Hmm.
Court of Dreams, right?
So
At least in
sad.
recent years. And Feyre, being the helper that she is, offers kind words, some playful flirting to help Rhys feel better, and much, much better, apparently, according to the vision that he places in her mind at the lingerie store. Okay. Giving us a little
Dirty.
foreshadowing, perhaps. I'll take it.
Dirty.
But her help actually doesn't stop there because she also helps Rhysand through his nightmare and leaves him with a comforting kiss on the cheek and sees her second painting vision since Under the Mountain and calls it a dark fallen prince and walks away feeling that hole in her chest start to heal over.
So
I
good.
know. Now,
So it
while
makes me so
waiting,
happy.
I know. That's like the way she describes it too. It just feels so
Yeah.
sincere. Now,
Mm-hmm.
while waiting for the human queens to deign to reply, we see Amryn spending pretty much all of these chapters reading. Okay, relatable.
Relatable.
I dare say yes. But also, she's learning a dead language that only she can remember. That must be a pretty daunting and time consuming task. So I get it. Fair.
Yeah.
She's got to be locked in her room with a book. Okay. Meanwhile, Feyre is training so hard that even, quote, her nightmares were too tired to hound me, which is something I completely get as we in the human world, will work ourselves to the bone and distract us from the anxieties of the world and our responsibilities. Like she's using that training as her distraction. And Feyre grows suddenly to miss one hell of a high lord, as she says it.
Mm.
And, because sometimes he's gone as she starts to realize she's missing his presence, whether that be at training or the banter that they have constantly. And she opens up about her past as a human and the simple dreams she used to have for her life to Rhysand, telling him, I used to just long for a quiet life to paint. And now I'm not really sure what I want. Finally, the human queens respond, and the whole crew, minus Amryn because she's reading, gathers at the sisters' home in the human world. We meet 5 of the 6 queens as they use their gifts from the Fae to winnow in.
Jaw on the
Surprise!
floor. Jaw on the floor.
Yes. Now, we will get a little bit more world building within these chapters, right? But let's start first with world building we learn about the queens. The eldest, brown skinned, eyes sharp and cold, heavy wrinkles. Middle aged Queen 1, as I called her, dark, sweet faced, smiling. Middle aged Queen 2, light, hewn from granite and frowning. So those two are kind of like the yin and yang of each other. The youngest Queen 1, in her young 20s, black haired, black eyed, cunning. Who does that remind us of?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Youngest queen 2, described as most beautiful. In fact, the only beautiful one. In her 30s, curly golden hair, eyes of pure amber, brown freckled skin, dusted with gold, body supple where men find it distracting, like her breasts, I would assume, and a lion in human flesh. Now there is a 6th
Yeah.
queen, but we don't meet her because apparently she's unwell and unable to make this journey. Right away, we feel these queens are many things, but kindness is maybe not at the top of that list, at least not for most of them. They
Mhm.
know that the war is coming to, and they do not plan to help the humans in Feyre's homeland. The queens say it is for the quote, greater good, but as Rhysand reminds us, many atrocities have been done for the greater good. Just when we think that the ball has been dropped, Morgan comes in hot to roast these queens with the lines, "Your ancestors were my friends, and when I look at you, I see nothing of those women in you. Your ancestors would be ashamed."
Mic drop.
Ooh,
Mic drop.
yes, yes. Now, Moore's words are enough for the queens to reconsider giving their half of the Book of Breathings, but not without proof that Rhysand is not as rumor claims him to be. And of course, cunning Rhysand has a plan for this, naturally. He plans to
Always.
use an orb called the Veritas, which is rife with something called truth magic that Moore's family bloodline possesses. Only problem, it is highly valued and guarded in the Court of Nightmares. No task though is too big for the Court of Dreams. And even though Feyre will have to play a role, she does agree to it, and it's a very important role that Rhysand describes as not a pleasant one, which turns out to be rather pleasant indeed, if I may say so myself, for other reasons.
It's pleasant for
Well,
someone and something.
for a few of them.
Parts of
But
them.
now, before arriving at the Court of Nightmares, Feyre and Rhys are sharing more sweet banter in the sky before being rudely interrupted by flaying arrows. Okay, terrible timing. I wanted more of that banter. But I mean, who
Always.
would do such a thing to the High Lord right outside his own court in his own territory? Now, Feyre does not have to sit out of the action this time. No, no, no. Instead, Rhys brings her along to hunt the attackers and their ash arrows, and they find nothing. Okay, nothing. That was the shortest little buildup I'd ever read. Okay, so back to our regular scheduled programming. We head into the city under the mountain, the hewn city. That makes Amarantha's copy feel like child's work. Feyre is dressed like a night goddess, leaving very little to the imagination, but demanding attention. And who else demands attention in this moment? None other than Rhysand, High Lord of the Night Court, who has put back on that demented and dark persona that sends Feyre's blood singing at the power and beauty that thrums from within him. Ooh, Feyre
All of
has
us. All of us.
agreed. Yes, remember, Feyre has agreed and is prepared to be a distraction and a plaything in the eyes of this court. And boy, oh boy, does she play the role well. Someone hand her an Oscar already because she takes on her own dark persona like a true method actress. Now, we all collectively lose our minds as the throne scene plays out, and Rhysand's claiming hands, Feyre's bold opening for him, and their natural reactions, as he describes them, that come along with someone being tantalized. And that sends all of our toes curling. Love
Your
that
girl was
scene.
reading that at work, and I was like, "There's
Stop.
nobody coming into the boutique, is there?
Oh my goodness.
You got to do what you got to do sometimes."
Amen. Now, they may have been playing make believe for the night court, but once you open that door, it's much harder to shut. And two things were accomplished when they left. The mission to receive the orb without detection was successful, and Feyre was left feeling alive again. Now, Feyre's self revelations don't end there because she learns something very important about herself. She no longer cares what the perceptions of others are. And she finally feels healed. She uses the words healed. After all the pain throughout her life, she knows now what she wants. And it's not the most powerful male, in Prythian. It's just Rhysand and who he is at his core. We learn of a very important night in the night court as a whole, and it's a holiday called Starfall. And this one is actually extra special because it's the first one to be celebrated together as an inner circle in over 50 years since Rhysand was under the mountain, Thamarantha. Now, the rest of the world celebrates Ninsar, which is the following day, and it's the day of seeds and flowers. But the Starfall holiday can only really be seen in the night court. And while the rest of the courts know about it, they can't celebrate it and don't celebrate it in the same way. Now, the entire city turns out the lights for this stunning celebration, and we see the inner circle dressed in their finest, even Cassian. Okay. And of course, Feyre's gown makes the pageant girl in me swoon. It
I
sounds
know.
so beautiful.
I need
And
it.
I know, right? It's so stunning. I'm imagining liquid beading in real life. Okay.
Oh,
Liquid beading, rhinestones.
1000%.
Uh-huh. Beautiful. Open
Yeah,
back.
put it on a stage. Put it on a stage right
Love
now.
it. Now, as the evening begins, we see sparkling stars that look like, quote, thousands of archers had loosed them from mighty bows, streaming across the sky closer than any star should be. But that's not all they are, but instead spirits on a yearly migration to somewhere else. Cue my
Interesting.
little antenna. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this
Mm-hmm.
beautiful night is the catalyst for more beautiful moments to come, from the warmth of Feyre's friends dancing to her very first painting that she makes on Rhysand's hand. Feyre even gives Rhys her first true moment of joy since the terrors with Amarantha. Now, the next day, we take a trip to the Illyrian war camp, right? Fun and games celebration is over. It's time to progress. This gives Feyre a better understanding of the Bat Boys' adolescence and where they came from. And Rhysand takes the opportunity to continue Feyre's training in the woods away from the camp. Here, we finally learn Rhysand and Tamlin's history. We have been waiting for this, and we find out that they were
Yes.
actually friends at one point, and Rhysand even trained him in secret. Tamlin's father was a horrible man, and he was very threatened, excuse me, not only by Rhysand, but the powers of his own son, and decided that their friendship and Rhys must be ended. So
Mm.
Tamlin conveyed to his family where Rhysand and his mother and sister would be outside of an Illyrian camp. And ultimately, Rhysand didn't come that day for some circumstance, and the women were murdered. Their heads put in boxes, sent down the river, their wings taken from them, and taken back to the spring court. Rhysand's family returned with acting out of vengeance. And Tamlin only lived because Rhysand didn't want any more killing to be done. Power hungry fathers who left a legacy of pain for their sons to carry on. Ugh.
Can I just take a second? I could say this later, but I'm gonna say it now. Tamlin. I will now refer to him as Tampon. And I can now have a little bit more hate for this man. Now, if you know anything about this fandom, Tam Tam is often referred to as Tampon when people dislike him, aren't a fan of him.
But you know
And you
why,
know
right?
what? Well, yes. But I just want to say, sure, maybe someday we'll get to see a better version of Tamlin. Tamlin is not all bad. He did good things. Feyre even says that to herself. He did good things for me. He did good things for my family. He can be a kind person. But he led his father and brothers to Rhys's family, someone who befriended him. This man doesn't know how to have a friend. He can't even be Lucian's friend. And the quote, kept their wings as trophies. That line right there, kept their wings as trophies. And then I said, you know what? You may be irredeemable to me. Maybe not. We'll see what SJM does. But that you may be irredeemable to me. So
It's
I
horrible. And
just,
I will say, like, in my back of my mind, I like to think that perhaps maybe I mean, it was father who kept the wings, right? But Tamlin didn't say
Mm.
anything against it. But some part of me is like, and this is not written anywhere. I just like I like to imagine that he was like defending his friendship to his dad one day. It was like, no, Rhysand's my friend, okay?
He's my
I'm
bestie.
gonna go see him outside the Illyrian war camp. And his dad said, let's all go.
Mm.
And then
But
flip the switch.
again,
And I hope
I
that's
think
not the
that just
case, but like
shows. I
mm,
think that shows exactly who Tamlin is, though. He's a
not
follower
cunning
of
enough.
tradition. He is, yeah, yeah.
Not cunning
It's
enough to outcun his own dad. I don't know.
mm, mm,
There's obviously a lot more that we need to learn about Tamlin
yeah,
because we've got two different perspectives now and we're
yes.
we're trying to
There's
find
middle
this within
ground,
ourselves. Yeah, but here
but
here is what we do know. Tamlin didn't tell Feyre any of this. That's what we know. And it's enough for her to feel betrayed, angry, confused,
I
all
feel all
fair
those things.
emotions, right? And
I
and
feel
I
them
mean
all.
exactly. So Feyre's basically realigning her past and her history and with the truths that were kept from her, and she suddenly met with someone directly from her past, Lucian.
Ooh,
Now
what
Lucian
a
has been
scene.
hunting her. Oh yes, Lucian has been hunting her
Hunting,
for yeah, that word, 2 months.
that
Okay,
word.
and apparently he was tipped off about her whereabouts in the forest and plans to return her to her home, which we know.
That's a word.
The Spring Court has not been Feyre's home for a very long time, and she is prepared to show who she has become and how she has grown into herself. And Lucian eventually does go back to the Spring Court with the Sentinels, and Rhys and Feyre decide to move on for the night as well. All the way to the local inn.
Mm.
If you read fantasy and you see the word inn, it should be your cue to go find a dark room and sit in it by
You
yourself.
know it's gonna
Okay.
be a good time.
Conveniently as well. Ready? It has how many beds, Miranda?
Just one.
One. Okay. Finally, we get the release to all this pent up energy and banter and climax. Finally, we are finished with our chapters.
Ah,
Okay.
what we always, I mean, duh, of course we pick cliffhangers and like pick where we pause. But like
Y'all don't
every
hate me.
time
We had to pause here, okay?
we
At least I
oh
let
my
you
God,
get
we
through
have
this
to.
chapter, okay? I let us get through
If
the
we
chapter.
hadn't, see, and that's the thing, as if we had paused, we've got all this
And then
build up. At least we got a little release. A little.
exactly. Now I did do this on purpose because if you've ever read a Sarah J. Maas book before, you know that the ending is so hard to stop. Like even for our next episode and chapter section,
Mm-hmm.
finding a place to stop without being like, let's finish the whole book was
Mm-hmm. Which would feel
really hard.
daunting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. There's way too much to cover within that. So that being said, I do try to take care of us all, okay, so that we get what we need without like going too far. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. Now, there was a little bit more world building within these chapters that I do think is very important for us to cover here. And I like to do a little building section together so that we just can kind of all check back in with the setting that we're in. Okay. So we do learn a little bit more about the High Lords. Remember, we've kind of met some of them, but not necessarily in depth, right? From under the
Mm-hmm.
mountain. And that was a fuzzy time skewed by Feyre's torture. So, how much do we really know?
For sure.
We have the Autumn Court, led by Baron, cruel and vain. We've heard him described a lot from what he did to Lucian and his first love. We
And what he
have,
did to Moore. Well,
yes, yeah.
what he
Well, that was her own family.
right, right. It just I can only imagine what he would have done had they not
Yeah.
saved her, but
Now, Winter Court, we have Callius, and
oh,
he
okay.
is quiet and cunning. Okay. And then we have Day Court, Helion, Spell Cleaver. He has 1,000 libraries, personally looted, might I add, by Amarantha. The Archive of Knowledge within Prithian, a court people, or the court, the people in his court, excuse me, are clever at spell work. Okay. Yeah, fair. Amarantha would loot that because knowledge is
Mm.
power. And
And I mean,
if
that
you
was her
don't,
thing with spells, right?
somewhat, yes, the ones that she took from Highburn.
Yes, yes, yes,
So
yes.
she's, are they her own? I don't know. For those of you who are in the podcast and are hearing my dog bark, I'm so sorry. I'm going to go let
Luna
her
just
out.
says, I want to be a part of it. And we'll pause.
All right, sorry, I'm back. I'm back. Okay, now Dawn Court, we don't really get a description of that in these chapters, so we're still waiting. Then we have
Yes.
Summer Court. We already know Tarquin, Spring Court, Tamlin, Night Court, Rhys. Okay, so that's our little check-in for all of the High Lords, a little bit better description. Then we learn that the priestesses in Cessair are not like Ianthe. So we do not.
Cessair.
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 Yes.
Baby, you listen to this. I don't. That it's next. When I get through them for the first time, I'm gonna listen. So when you say things, I'm like, let me
You're like,
just listen and repeat.
okay.
Let me listen and repeat.
Well, we learned that they're not like the priestesses. They're not like Anthe, and that's good. So we don't have to hate them all.
Yes, thank goodness for that.
Okay, we have a character named Miriam, which has been kind of name dropped a little bit in the past, but we get a lot more about her now, right? Born to a
Yes.
half Fae, she's born half Fae. And oh my gosh, let me just my words got stuck in my mouth. I'm sorry. Okay, she is born half Fae to an enslaved human mother and made a slave herself despite having part Fae ancestry. And she was originally given as like a gift of a servant to a Fae prince named Dracon. Now, or Dracon, sorry. Now, before he he got her. He clearly was not with this. He said, nah, letting you go. Let her escape. And who did she find? Jurian. We've heard his name plenty of times. Now,
yes.
Miriam was then caught up in a love triangle, which she eventually chose Dracon. Now, they now live in a secret island in a forgotten stormy part of the sea, vast, lust, and shielded from time and spying eyes. And they live with their children and both of their peoples, Fae and human, together for 500 years. We learn this is the ideal world that Rhysand is trying to build within the Night Court, something similar, right? Now, we also learn about the span of an Illyrian male's wings, and that it says a lot about the size of other parts. And who has the biggest wingspan? Apparently, it's Azriel. For those of you who are listening, Miranda's drinking out of her wingspan cup.
Because wingspan matters.
Now, we also learned that enemies, yes, just enemies, we get nothing else, have a track on Rhysand's magic, which means they can find him when he winnows anywhere or uses his powers. And that's how they were found in the human lands, and that's how they were found outside the Court of Nightmares. So we don't know who these enemies are, right? Right now we've got 3 players. We've got Highburn, we've got Tarquin, and we've got Tamlin. So it could be any of them. We also learned some more about the Illyrian blood rite, right? So it sends them into this area. They go in unarmed into the mountain area, wings bound, no siphons, no magic, food, clothes, just what you have on your body. That's all you can use. And those who make it out are considered true warriors. Rhys tells us that magic also needs to be used. Okay, this is separate from the blood rite. It's a whole other thing. Magic needs to be used. And if you do not use it, it will build up inside of the user and drive them insane. So I think we can presume then that the stronger the power in a Fae, the more they have to exert so that they don't feel that strain. So some interesting world building.
Lots of stuff to keep in your brain and
yes.
I mean,
I know. It's a lot to track. That's why I like to put it in a whole segment. Yes. Okay, so that we can kind of come back to it as we build up our world.
We have to.
Oh yeah. Like, and I think we should also go through another list here, which is a powers check for Feyre, right? We
Yes.
know a lot about her already. And I'm very, very quickly, we have night court power, autumn, winter, spring, summer, and day. We have not seen dawn court magic yet. But what do we have that's new? Well, it's not necessarily new because we've seen Feyre use her shapeshifting gifts, but not to this extent. In fact, she has been
Mm.
avoiding tapping into this power until she is triggered by seeing Lucian. And what does she create? Well, she recreates those talons, and not for a quick second, but full
Mm-mm.
on. Okay. Talons and wings.
Wings. This
She
girl
has
has wings.
wings. Yay. How exciting. Okay. She even,
Yeah.
recognizes how they feel, the weight of them. She describes that weight on her back that she's feeling. Love that description. Yes.
Yes. I'm like, can she fly with them? I would be so curious to know,
Sweet.
like, to what extent when you shapeshift, because she became Tarquin to
Mhm.
open the doors. But I'm like, to what extent then can you utilize that power? Like,
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
mean,
Very
I would assume, like
curious.
with anything, you have to know how to use it. So
Oh, for
probably have to
sure.
learn, right?
Oh, I'm sure Rhys and Cassian and Az would be happy to teach this girl how to fly. Also, didn't we learn in this chunk that she can like blend the magic, blend these powers together? So it's not just, water animals and then fire and then like she can put it together and she can feel it
Yeah.
within herself that she can like she says something along the lines and I didn't write it down, which annoys me. But I'm like, she said something along the lines of it was no longer their power, it was
Mhm.
my power. It came from this being that created us all, the cauldron, whatever, and it's now mine. It's not theirs. And I can do with it kind of what I please and what I want. And I was like, yes, baby. Yes, you
Mhm.
can. It's your
Yeah, I
power,
love
girlfriend.
that. I love that.
So good.
Now there's so many great moments within Feyre's character, and that's where we're going to head to next, is kind of diving into our main characters, right? We both know that Rhys and Feyre are going to take up most of our time in this
Mm.
episode as we talk about them, rightfully so. But we're going to start with our girl Feyre. Okay, now one of the first things I wrote down here is Rhys saying, come on, or her saying to Rhys, excuse me, right? She's
Mm-hmm.
trying to make him feel better. Come on, wink at me, play with me. Like she wants that banter. She wants that friendship that they've built. And
Mm-hmm.
Rhys is usually the one trying to instigate any flirting in order to help Feyre through her difficult emotions. So seeing her do the same for Rhys not only shows the parallels between the two of them and their internal struggles, but also that she genuinely cares for his well-being.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so sweet.
They actually
And
like each other. Like,
I
not,
know,
no
like
matter what that
building a
turns
friendship.
into. Yeah, exactly. They actually care for each other. It's so sweet.
I know. And then, Feyre describes how Rhysand stayed and fought for her week after week, even when she was too deep in her own depression to care, and that she wants to do the same for him, right? Like she recognizes that someone was there for her and she wants to do that for him. That's so
Hmm.
sweet. And we see this as it's not a one-way friendship. And saying that she would not leave him to his own dark thoughts and guilt because she understands what it means to be there and does not think that he deserves that type of loneliness. Cue my tears.
Oh, I did cry in this chunk. Not for that, but there were so many moments where I was feeling all the feels. And I'll bring up where I was like bawling again at work the other day. I'm like, please don't let anybody walk into the store right now. They're gonna think I'm a psychopath. It's fine.
Mm. Mm.
So
Well,
good.
that friendship is not just the only tactic, right, that she uses for getting Reese out of that rut, right?
No.
No, her tactics are quite cunning, urging him to be more clear about how he finds her attractive, and then giving her that predatorial gaze. Sends chills through her and me. Okay. Ravenous. And
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. Who doesn't want to feel like someone wants to devour them, right? Feyre
right.
doesn't shy away from it either. And she holds that gaze. there's something so powerful to me about like a woman standing in her power and like matching it with someone else. I
Yeah.
love it. Love
Yeah.
it.
So good.
Okay. Ooh. And then we have this little lingerie shop vision that Rhysand plants into her mind after Feyre tries to make him feel better. And it's so juicy. And it's interesting
Mm.
to me, though, because Feyre doesn't immediately recognize the thought as not her own. And it
Mm-hmm.
almost like reading it feels so organic to transition straight into that moment from her own thoughts. And I loved the description of her like allowing him to take charge of the power dynamic and walking to him when asked, and the calluses on his hands, the way those are described. They're tiny but sensual details that I absolutely love. Now, I know this was Rhys's vision, so it wasn't like her thinking that.
But like,
She also
I don't
didn't
know.
quickly recognize that it wasn't her thinking it.
No, she didn't. And maybe it's the bond, maybe it's all this flirting between them that like he kind of knows what she wants. I don't know. Oh man, but that scene, I'm like, so Rhys, baby, is this what we think about at night when we're going to bed? Like, how many times have we imagined this scene that we can just little, sprinkle it in for Feyre, and it's pretty vivid, if
Detailed,
you will.
vivid. Yes, I agree. I
Mm-hmm.
agree. So Feyre's powers are growing, and she sits there and like she says she wills her hand to turn into shadow with half a thought.
That sounds like our boy Rhys. Just like a
I half a thought, half a thought. We've read that
power.
before.
Yes, it's like look at them. Keep your hands in your pockets.
You don't
All you
need
have to
them.
do is think. All you have to do is think
Yes.
about it.
Now, this shows to me that she's getting stronger in manipulating her powers, but also then stronger in honoring her emotions because they are so directly tied.
Yes, it's not just rage. It doesn't just have to be, being pissed off or being flirted with or whatever to kind of incite that, which I think is so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And so I know this moment, but then I'm trying to remember like when was this happening when she was like turning her hand into shadow?
So this is when she's waking Rhys from his nightmare. And something that I loved within this too, and now this connects a little bit more to her, but like, yeah, to Feyre, which we're talking about Feyre, but we're also talking about Rhys. They like
They're so
blend together.
intertwined.
They really do. So she's waking Rhys from his nightmare when like it shakes the house and like darkness is rippling through the hallway. And he says, I usually can keep it contained. So he has nightmares often too. Just as often as she does, is what he admits. But in trying to like wake him from this, she says, quote, my darkness sang his own a lullaby, a song my wet nurse had hummed when my mother had shoved me into her arms to go back to attending parties. But I wanted to note that because that's more like mom lore, mom trauma,
Mm.
because we just get like little nuggets. Um, but we mentioned it in the summary, but she also uses this like there's so much that happens in this little chunk. We get a little bit of mom lore, we get her turning into darkness like with half a thought. We also get her envisioning again a painting, this
Mm-hmm.
fallen
Mm-hmm.
prince, this dark fallen prince that she wants to paint. I'm like, get this girl some art supplies. And then seeing Rhysand kneeling on the bed, tattooed and naked, made the hole in her chest roar with life. It made all of our chests roar with life and demand like nothing else had. I'm like, wow, that's quite a feeling there, Feyre darling.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite
Mm-hmm.
a feeling. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
I
get it,
agree.
but that's that. What a way to describe that. And all in this moment of him like having a nightmare, which I think is also because it's so vulnerable too.
Yeah,
Like all of
absolutely.
this
So
moment is so
vulnerable.
vulnerable. Mm-hmm.
So, as much as, Feyre talks about like being healed and everything, she's still guarded in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And, she thinks about visiting the artist quarter, something that she should be quite comfortable doing. Um, but says it would be stupid for me to fall in love with it when it might be torn from me. So, like a coward, I turned and went home.
I know it's so
Oh,
sad. I'm like, just go see it. Just, because
but
she
she's
wants to
so
live.
scared. She's so scared of
She is.
something she loves being taken from her. I mean,
Hmm.
something she loves. I mean, she loved Tamlin. I guess he
Yeah.
was kind of taken from her by circumstance in a way. Like the man she fell in love with was no longer
Hmm.
who she remembered or
I think the,
herself. She love herself at one point? That's questionable. Okay.
well,
But
yeah.
she lost that.
Hmm. And it's that guilt too, right? Like she doesn't want this beautiful place to be torn from her. Just, I mean, she didn't really want Tamlin and all of the things that happened in the spring court to happen. She also
Right.
feels so much guilt over that too, because again, this girl,
So
she
much.
holds the weight of the world on her shoulders, which like we kind of get it. She's kind of like this powerful being that's, probably gonna have to help save the world.
Mm.
But you can tell that she wants something more. She wants something more for her life. She wants something more with Rhysand, but this guilt is still there and she's working through it. She is. We get so many little nuggets of her continuing to heal, but this guilt that she feels over Tamlin when she keeps in her brain, traitor, traitor, traitor. Like, I think that kind of applies to all of these little pieces that she's not quite worked through yet, that she
Mm.
still needs to get over this fact that she left. And it's okay that
Yeah.
she left.
Oh yeah. I mean, she's clearly still got a lot of trauma built up in her. And like think about how she was so quickly triggered by Rhysand saying that he isn't sure he wants her to come to the court of nightmares. And instantly,
Mm.
without a breath, she thinks, don't lock me up in this house. Don't shove me aside. And doesn't even get to finish the thought before Rhysand is putting her concerns at ease. Um, but this reasoning, right, is so understandably selfish in the way that she wants to take care of herself because of that trauma. And, she talks about Rhysand here too, and she uses the words "I trust you." It's this constant feeling of like trauma, fear. Wait, I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
Trauma, fear, triggering. Wait, I'm with someone that I can trust.
And
And
trust is huge for this girl.
huge, huge. I mean, those are maybe some of the most powerful words we've read thus far. I
I,
trust you.
I mean, for me, I think that hits a lot deeper even than like I love you to Tamlin. Did she ever
Mm.
really trust Tamlin? Like
Not
that's
enough
a
to tell him everything, even when she didn't have to when she came back from the night court
yep.
during
Yep.
their little,
Yeah.
weekly visits.
And then
Not didn't
later she
trust him enough to
says,
open up.
that she missed him. She missed Rhys. In those
Yeah.
weeks apart, she was fine with it because she didn't have the, I mean, because, I mean, hey, ladies, gentlemen, everybody listening, trust is big, right? That's important in our relationships in life. If you do not
Mm-hmm.
trust someone, if you do not trust yourself, then that is something we have to work on because
Oh,
trust, I mean, that's
100%.
like the foundation to any sort of relationship is having some
Yep.
sort of trust with a person.
Oh
um
yeah. And I've been in long-term committed relationships with someone that I did not trust.
uh-huh, you and me both. Mm-hmm.
And that feeling of like constantly either filtering yourself for their
Mm-hmm.
benefit or feeling like you are not being given the whole truth, all the information,
Yeah,
that will tear you apart.
you're
Okay, if you've
constantly
never
on
had
edge.
that feeling and you're trying to justify how Feyre could be so willing to move on so quickly, like 2 months
Mm-hmm.
time, if you've never been in a relationship that is untrustworthy, let me tell you, you're
Mm-hmm.
quick. You're quick to release that feeling because it is all consuming, right? And
Yeah,
when you're with someone who you can trust, it feels like
it's like
breathing
a switch.
clean, fresh air. Like you
Mm-hmm.
feel literally lighter.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So I get where Feyre is coming from and why this is so powerful. Now, Feyre
yeah.
trusts him so much that Rhys's concerns about the night court and the persona she's going to have to play. She's like, it's okay. Like I know what I'm doing. We got this. And enter dark goddess Feyre. Dare I say,
Mm.
she's hot. Okay.
Yes, she is.
Woo, we got another amazing outfit too. I love a good
Mm-hmm.
dress, and this one's black. Ooh, is it a dress?
Black and sparkly.
Is it basically just
It's
a swath of fabric that's sheer? Sure, we'll count it
that's
as a
fine.
dress. It's long.
It's
Now,
it covers something ish.
ish. Now Rhysand tells her that everyone else in the Night Court is thinking about basically doing her, but she doesn't blush. Okay, she doesn't blush or pale at that. No, 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 no. Instead, she absorbs the compliment like a woman who feeds off of it and acknowledges
Yes.
her own beauty and strength.
And with
Stepping
that, she
into her
goes,
power.
she's like, I was beautiful. I was strong. I had survived, triumphed. And I'm like, yes, bitch, yes. Like in this moment, I'm like, you may be playing a role, but I think she just like opened herself up to
Mhm.
a lot of feelings, if nothing else. But she also just opened herself up to not being like afraid, to kind of standing up to people, to holding her head high, no matter how people were looking at her. And like, we can talk about all of that a little bit later too, with like more. And I just was like, yes, queen, take it and run with it. And maybe it's all a show. I mean, I don't think so, because then we get the end scene. But I'm like, God damn. Whew,
Mm.
I say this tension between Rhys and Feyre in the Hewn City has me sweating. It's not even tension. It's happening. It's happening.
Yeah,
It's as close to
it's
happening as it can in, I guess, public.
in a room full of people. I know, right?
And they're just like
Yeah,
staring. Sorry, what's Moore's dad's name?
yeah.
Kier, and they're like just staring him down. I would be so locked into that position. Now, this may say a lot about me for a multitude of reasons, or multiple reasons, that I would be like, what is happening? A, hot as hell. B, they are going at it. And yeah, in a
It's
room
like
full of people
not even
locking eyes with them.
yeah, right. Like not even a train wreck because train, the train wreck analogy, like it's a train wreck, you can't
Yeah.
look away. But I don't know, even more beautiful
A
and
beautiful
stunning, a
trainer.
beautiful train wreck, I guess. But
Yeah.
we have to remember this is all being done to distract him. So it's working. It's doing
Yes.
exactly what it was intended to do, right?
It is
We
a
we we
distraction.
leave this setting and Feyre continues to have these revelations about how she is feeling, what she's wanting. Like at the beginning of these chapters, we go from I don't know what I want to like I know exactly what I want. And during that time, Feyre realizes something about Rhys, something that we've
Hmm.
all been reading. And I think as a reader, you're like, it's so clear, it's so obvious,
Like, duh, girl.
but she realizes that Rhysand has been her constant. He's been there this whole time. Quote, the person who had sent me music into that cell, who picked up the knife at Amarantha's throne room to fight for me when no one else dared, and who had kept fighting for me every single day, refusing to let me crumble and disappear into nothing. I mean,
Mm,
we've all known this. We've been reading this since book 1, and she finally gets it.
yeah,
Finally.
that quote and this one that I want to put together. Quote, because things between us had never been normal, not from the very first moment we'd met on Calanmai. I'd been unable to easily walk away from him then when I thought he was deadly dangerous. But now, dot, dot, dot. Yes, these realizations were like, fucking finally, Feyre.
I know, right?
Sorry,
Oh,
queen, I know it takes time, like we all got to get there in our own time, but I'm like, finally, like, yeah, he's good and a great thing. And then I know you mentioned this in the summary, but I have to bring it back up because she smiles at him for the first time. She truly smiles at Rhys, and he's like, do it again. And when my husband told me he loved me for the first time, I didn't like initially say it back. I just looked at him and I said, say it again. Because I just wanted that moment. I wanted to sit in it and feel it before like continue, and of course I said it back, but like I get that feeling from Rhys's perspective. And then she paints him, she paints on him and for him. And it's like, that is such a raw and again, vulnerable thing for her, for both of them. And this is like just such a huge breakthrough in like those feelings and like the moving on department, like all of these little nuggets in her brain and the things that she's doing. And then, one step forward and then two steps back, because she's still sitting here, like, as much as she has decided, okay, I can move on, she's still convincing herself to basically go like the friends with benefits route, because she doesn't want to hurt herself again,
Yeah,
which
she's scared. She's
I
scared he
get.
doesn't actually reciprocate it.
Yeah. And hey, also, what we were talking about with relationships before, when you are with someone that you do not trust, it's then hard, as much as you want to be open and trusting of a new person, it takes a little bit of time. And like, she likes
Oh
Rhys,
yeah.
but she's worried about the way she'll be perceived, and she's working through that, right? Like we just talked about that. And she's worried about like hurting other people, but she's slowly getting there of like, no, it's okay. It's okay for me to feel the way that I feel and do the things that I want to do. And that's like this overarching theme, of course, that like we're just
Yeah.
going to keep bringing up as we continue to get Feyre's story, and she continues to heal, and she continues to cause a rift between two pretty powerful high lords, and then almost gets recaptured by Lucian when Lucian arrives. That
Okay, that
moment.
whole section honestly just kind of sent me into a Lucian what the fuck spiral.
I
I get it,
know.
but and I will note there are so many italicized words. You all know how I
Mm.
feel about italicized words in these
Mm-hmm.
books, but
Mm-hmm.
there are so many of them. And it keeps making me feel like there's something more he's trying to say that he can't. And maybe it's because he doesn't want to say it in front of Rhysand, but he keeps talking about like, I we need you to come back. I need you to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And that being italicized, like things are bad, Feyre. I need you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like he's trying to send a message, or Sarah
Without
J. Mass
like.
feels like she's trying to elude that he's sending a message without giving the whole story. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that makes me wonder what's been happening there. I mean, we know what happened after she was gone for a week and she came back and the study was completely destroyed. I can only
Yeah.
imagine what's been happening over the last 2 months of zero communication, except her one letter from an illiterate person that he doesn't believe probably wrote it. Mm.
Which like I get, because he didn't know that she was learning to read and write, but like, do you think so little of her that she couldn't learn those things?
I don't know, because he does go on to say, like, you made your point, Feyre. Now come home. Like what? She's a child throwing a
Mm-hmm.
fit.
And it's, as women, we know this, right? We know this like condescension. And we get this condescension not just from Lucian, like we get it from the queens. We get it in a few places. When freaking Rhys is about to tear apart Kier for making a horror comment against Feyre, like this condescension and at who I am as a person, that just fucking fires me up. It ignites rage in me. And like you said, you made your point, Feyre. Okay, let me make my point. Wings and
Yeah, let
talons.
me make my point real clear then. Okay. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
exactly. Oh, but this line after Lucian's like, what happened to you? When you spend so long trapped in darkness, Lucian, you find that the darkness begins to stare back. Ooh.
So good.
Little does Lucian know that, we've talked about there are many types of darkness, both
Mm-hmm.
one that caress you and empower you and that are fearful. And Lucian only sees one type. He doesn't understand darkness the way that Feyre has learned to. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think this is her convincing him that she is like not the person he remembers, but also I think this is her saying the truth.
Yeah, it's such an honest interaction between them. I mean, yeah, Lucian is weird, and we already talked about that. But Feyre is so brutally honest and open. You could have been there for me. You could have made the difference and you didn't. And it stung. It hurt. It like hurt me to hear her finally say it in like the best way because she needed to, but it was all so true. And like I want to believe that maybe it would open up his eyes a little bit. Like I want Lucian to redeem himself because I do think that there is a piece of him that wanted to do right for Feyre.
Yeah.
He's just so wrapped up in this idea that I have to do things a certain way and Tamlin's the High Lord and whatever. And I just, yeah, I don't know. I would love to see him be a little bit redeemable, but right now I'm like, you guys are not, I don't enjoy you. You and Tam Tam are just not, it's fine. It's
I
fine.
know. I know. And it's just, those are the sections where Feyre just really stood out to me. But as we said, that Feyre and Rhysand are so intertwined in these chapters that we're going to kind
Mhm.
of end up talking about her still anyways. But I think we should transition into a little bit more focused on Rhysand. And,
Yes.
we open these chapters up with Rhysand brooding, which I wouldn't
Mm.
say is something we've really seen yet. And it's also so, I don't know, understandable because, I get it. We all have bad days. We kind of need to like sit in it sometimes and think, honestly, think before you act, novel concept. And, um,
Hey,
more
Rhys is older than some of the other
truth.
high lords, so maybe he's had a little bit of time to understand that reactions have consequences.
Yes. Yes. Now, Moore says that it takes a miracle to get him out of those. Okay. Like, so I guess Pharaoh's, a miracle in more than one way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I get it. That was such a hard moment for him. We talked about him like almost having a friend in Tarquin. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's just, and it's so sad because he says, I didn't like stealing from him. I didn't like hurting his guards. I didn't like vanishing without a word when ambition or no, he truly wanted an alliance, maybe even friendship. And then he goes on to talk about like no other High Lord has ever bothered or dared to try, but maybe Tarquin would have and could have. And it makes me feel so sad because again, he's kind of lonely. There's this loneliness. He's got friends, but he, and I was going to say he's got friends that truly see him, but they don't. Rhys still hides pieces of himself from the inner circle. That's why he stays in the townhouse and sleeps there when he has his nightmares. Feyre is kind of the only one who has now seen every facet of Rhysand.
Mm-hmm.
And that's lonely, right? And maybe Tarquin also could have been somebody that could have, started to like break through one of his masks.
Yeah.
Um I don't know why I put this here, but I did. So I'm just going to bring it up. But he goes, quote, am I supposed to deny that I find you attractive? It's not flirting. It's truthful. And especially in this chunk when he is brooding, and that must be why I put it here. Like his flirting is not as quippy as it usually is. It's just very like, I feel like hard truth. Like it's getting
Yeah.
a little bit deeper, a little bit more predatory, obviously, as we build through these chapters. But it's so funny, even as they literally get physical, like they're still walking this line between like this friendly banter and just wanting to like rip each other's clothes off, which I'm sure that Rhys knows how to do quite well. And he even says, and we'll bring this up a little later, but he's like, this would be a great place for me to fuck you, but I don't have a wall. And he wants the
Yeah.
wall. So I'm
Yeah. We
sure he knows
definitely
what
gonna
he
talk
wants
about
to
that.
do. Oh, yeah. 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 Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so true, right? Rhysand is such a complex character. I think that's why I love
Mm,
talking about him because there's so many facets and layers. And
so
you're right,
much.
he's not fully opening up. I mean, these nightmare shadow storm moments, his inner circle doesn't know about them. And his reason for isolating at night from the others is described in such great detail. And I feel like I would envision this moment that he's having in each step. Like from the moment Feyre is like, oh my, the shadows are creeping into my room. I open up, it's sheer black. I can't see it, and the blackness is, oh my gosh, it's talking to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's she describes it as inky black, which I would assume means she can't see.
Right. It's like
Yeah,
thick.
and we can't ignore the fact that Feyre saw him naked. But actually, what I love
Mm-hmm.
about the vulnerability of this moment is that Feyre knows she could look. And it's not that she doesn't, but it's not the most important part because she chooses to be nurturing and polite in this moment where Rhys is literally and figuratively laid bare before her.
Yeah, he sleeps in the nude, which is fun. And
Not
I think
surprised by that at all. Men run
no.
hot.
And I'm sure Rhys really does. Uh sorry, my brain is buffering. Well, I'm just taking a moment to visualize. Um yes, what you were saying, let me get out of the gutter for a second. She does. She chooses to be nurturing and polite. And I think it's here too that I love all of these little moments in these chapters that are sweet because she kisses him on the cheek, and later he kisses her on the cheek and kisses her on the brow and all of these things. Um, but I don't know. I thought that was so sweet and so lovely. And the fact that I feel like if it had been Tamlin, and I hate to compare them, and he says don't compare us, and we'll get there too. But like if it had been Tamlin, I think she just would have gone like for the dick. You know what I mean? Because that's what she knew how to do for him. That's all they did together. But like these two
Yeah.
can talk and have conversation, and she could caress his mind with a lullaby. And she does slap him to try to get him out of it, because that's probably would have been my first thought too. It's like, oh my God,
What the fuck up?
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like a sweet moment. It is,
Yeah.
especially for Feyre's perspective. Not really sweet for Rhys. I mean, yeah, but a little terrifying for him. But I
Yeah.
love that she chooses that route.
100%. Now, we also see that, during this moment of vulnerability from Rhys, we get a very visual description of him, including the tattoos that he has above his knees of a mountain and 3 stars. And, we know that the mountains must be pretty important, right? His Illyrian heritage. We talk about the blood right in the mountain. Like there's some importance and significance here. And we also learn that specific tattoo's meaning is that he will bow before no one and nothing but his kingdom. Beautiful sentiment, but I very much so am still thinking about him on his knees in front of Feyre.
Mm-hmm.
So, when he's like helping strap her thigh weapons in,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
is bowing and kneeling, are they similar? Are they separate? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I It also makes me think about all of these moments when he's like forcing other people to their knees,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so maybe that's the difference between like forced kneeling, forced bowing, and when he
Mm.
chooses it. Like I will choose if I must kind of thing.
Mm.
I wanted to bring up too, like in this nightmare state, he's like in almost beast form. We see
Mm.
more of like his arms and his feet are kind of like in shadowy talons, and his wings are splayed out, which we see the wings often. But I'm curious why exactly, and I'm sure we'll get it, but why he doesn't like it, why he doesn't want to become it when Tamlin seemed all too comfortable in his beast form. And is that
Yeah.
just a difference in like maturity and an understanding of what it means to turn into that and to like lose that, maybe lose your humanity or your feyity? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to me that he just doesn't want to like let go and fully become that, when in Tamlin's nightmares, that's exactly where he went. That was his protection, his shell. And I thought that was
Right.
like an interesting comparison between the two. I hate to compare them, but like we have to, right? The
Yeah,
two
no,
lovers
I
of
think
Feyre.
that's right. I think that's really fair, actually. A fair comparison. I'm glad that you brought that up. Now, we do learn, more about Rhysand growing up too. We learned that he did want to be a High Lord growing up, but he
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to be like his father, which, okay, fair, because his father's,
Sounds like a scary man.
yeah, for sure. Um, Clearly a very difficult history, and
Mm-hmm.
he made it one of his goals to protect his people, change the perception of the Illyrians, and eliminate corruption from his land. Pretty noble pursuits, I would say.
And big pursuits, right? And again, like that's why he feels so bad about what he had to do to Tarquin, because Tarquin has these same ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's why I didn't. I mean, he felt bad about what happened to Tamlin's family. He helped spare Tamlin, but like maybe that's why he doesn't feel as bad toying with Tamlin, because I think maybe when they were friends, maybe he saw something in him, but that's not there now, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Now we get this line. It's very quick. And Rhysand says, "She is more than enough." Oh, I mean, for Feyre feeling like she is maybe never going to be enough for anyone, including
Mm-hmm.
herself, to hearing someone say, not to you, but about you in
Mm-hmm.
defense, she is more than enough.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I will shout out my best friend here really quickly, because when I was not at like a low point of life, but just trying to really figure out who I was as a person, Autumn told me that I was enough. And that, not that I hadn't heard it from other people, but just, and this was when I was prepping for Miss South Dakota and Miss America and all the things and whatever. And I was trying to be perfect and trying to be like this different version of myself. And Autumn helped remind me that who Miranda was enough. And I have a bracelet that literally says it. I wore it when they called my name for the top 10 the year that I won Miss South Dakota. Because I needed that reminder. And I think that's a beautiful reminder for all of us. We don't always hear it, but we are enough. Who we are, what we are, the decisions we make, good or bad, we are enough.
Mm. I love you.
I love you. Just, yeah, sit in that. You are enough, everybody. You are enough.
Oh, that feels like so long ago.
It was like a lifetime ago, a whole other
Oh,
life.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, we love a good friendship moment here. Okay.
Mm.
And I'm so glad that we get more of those with Feyre and Rhysand too, because
Mm-hmm.
it really does feel like we get great friendship and that builds into great banter.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite banter moments takes place in the sky.
So good.
Right? That I guess anatomy lesson, if you will, that
Mm-hmm.
Rhysand gives Feyre about the wings, right? They're highly sensitive, and a touch to them in the right places during sex kind of takes them to completion, right? Helps kind of get them going. Um, Something which Rhysand has never trusted anyone to do.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
We'll
oh, go
get to
ahead.
that in scene. We'll
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
get
Oh, we will.
there. We'll talk more about those wings. I also find it interesting that while talking about how delicious the touching of the wings can be, it piqued my interest that he also says, though, that Illyrians are taught to protect their wings at any cost. Like if somebody touches your wings, you kill without thinking about it. You ask questions later. You act now, you ask questions later. So again, I think that shows a little bit of trust. I mean, he's holding
From
her like
him.
he knows, yes. He knows who's touching his wings in this moment. But like I found that very interesting. You know, these wings clearly like people will cut them off of you and clip them and, you know, whatever. They are highly coveted, highly protected, and so it takes a lot to want to allow someone to touch that part of you, which we will
Yeah,
continue to
absolutely.
dive into.
And before we get there, we got to talk about Night Court Resand, okay? Because he is back
Mm-hmm.
and he fully releases the damper on his power, right? No wings, but hands in his pockets.
When
And
that man puts his hands in his pockets, you know,
it's
there's some
going
power.
down, going down. Okay. Now, this is the male we meet in book one, right? Feyre describes him as the face of dreams and nightmares. Rhysand was power, despite the mask. And I love how Feyre takes time to remind Rhys that she sees him. Okay, I see you. I see who you truly are, the true you behind the mask, and I am not scared. For a man that believes he is hard to love, that would send me right over the edge.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
see me, you see
Mm-hmm.
all of me, and you're not scared of me. You choose to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
A beautiful sentence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lots of things from when they are in the hewn city. I love this description of you could feel the ripple of his power through the mountain with each step.
Mm,
His power had, quote, no end and no beginning. Like being in the hewn city and seeing again this like version, the Court of Nightmares version of Rhys Sand, you can see who Rhys could be, who he chooses not to be, this mask that he puts on. But I'm like, man, if you didn't have the morals and the compassion and loyalty and all of the things that make Rhys this character that, let's be honest, everybody, we fucking love, like he could be wildly different, wildly
mm,
different. And again, he puts Kier on his knees, and it's like, darkness floods the room, once it disappears, he's just lounging on the chair, hands in pockets, like half a thought, and this
mm.
man is breaking bones. I also, though, want to bring up the piece of this book that the piece of this chunk, excuse me, that really made me like sob at work. Quote,
Mm.
it's fine, it means nothing, it's just your body reacting. And it kills me for a multitude of reasons I cannot yet explain. One of them being, that that's what he had to tell himself when he was under the mountain. That's
Yeah.
what he has to tell himself to be okay with I mean, this man is clearly like, if they were still figuring out how she feels, Rhys knows how he feels. He finds her attractive. She is my salvation. She's mine. She's not like, I think we've determined how Rhysand feels about Feyre. Like I,
Yeah.
I don't know that there's any masking that this man has got some pretty deep feelings for this woman. But for him to look at her and go, it's okay, it's fine, it means nothing, it's just your body reacting, like just guttural, like gut punch, rip your heart out. I don't know, something about that line is just so devastating and so beautiful at the same time, like that he is like, it's okay, I get it, like don't stress, it's fine, you're playing a part, like we're good, we can go back to the way that things were, kind of thing. Like it just tears.
Tears. Speaking of tears,
This part too.
my moment that really sent me in these chapters was him saying, "Stop comparing me to him."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, dagger to the heart. And I know my word choice there after book one,
Mm.
dagger to the heart. But truthfully, it's so painful to read because
Mm-hmm.
Feyre doesn't realize that she's been hurting him this whole time, right? The family
Yeah.
history behind there, that is perhaps the worst person she could compare him to in his mind.
Yeah.
And he's
And
over
he
it
like,
to the point where he has to say it, like, stop, I'm not him.
yeah, leave me alone about it, And then he takes a couple of days to himself because of course then she kind of, they get into an argument, right? They hurt each other.
Yeah.
And he like mentions in this book or in this book, geez Louise, in this chapter, yes, this book, but these chapters that like the way that Feyre feels and thinks is written on her face, which like I get it. I'm not always great at hiding what I'm thinking. Sorry, I'm a Capricorn, but he knows and he can probably feel it and sense it. They have a bond. Sometimes her shield isn't always up. Like it's so sad, and it's sad too because he goes, I will kill anyone who harms you. I will kill them and take a damn long time doing it. Go ahead, hate me, despise me for it. Make think that I am the bad guy like Tamlin. Think that oh God, I will protect you at all costs, but I'm different. And it takes her time. Like she has to realize that. And she even then like drops the lines later of she's the princess locked in the castle is let out by the hero, right? Well, Rhys is who let her out.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm gonna skip down to that in my notes. The villain is the one who locks up the maiden and throws away the key. He, Rhysand, was the one who let me out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She does. She begins to acknowledge how it's different, right? And his darkness is described during this argument as hollow, cold, and foreign, when prior had been described things like being sweet. So she did.
Mm-hmm.
She hurt him with those words, and she acknowledges, she she was mirroring her own feelings. She didn't
Mm-hmm.
truly mean those things about him. And this takes us into a new section of the story where she starts to become more honest with herself and
Yes.
with him. We go to the Illyrian war camp. He uses those words, she's mine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then we go on, I found myself deciding that if you took his hand, I would find, this is Rhysand, right? Talking. Ready? Get yourself ready. Okay. I'll start over. I
Go
found
ahead.
myself deciding that if you took his hand, I would find a way to live with it. It would be your choice. And if he grabbed me, Feyre says, then I would have torn the world apart to get you back.
I would
Ah,
have torn the world apart to get you back.
oh
What
my
a
gosh.
line.
Take me now.
What a line. So
That I
good.
had to stop reading. I had to stop. I had to be like literally sitting in my chair and just
You gotta let
stare.
it like soak in. You just have to like feel it. You really do. It's so.
Yes.
I would have torn apart the world to get you back. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
There's not the
yeah.
shudder in your voice. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so good. Now, we are now on to like the last 7 pages of the book. Okay, or not the
We've
book.
gone from
These.
sweet the chunk. We've gone from sweet from tears of joy and sorrow and beauty to tears elsewhere.
Tears went down my thighs. Woo! Okay, sorry, that was a Sabrina Carpenter song. If nobody else got that reference, okay. to the tune to the tune of "I'm a Big Kid Now." Apparently,
I was gonna say
I don't know.
Taylor Swift. It's
There
you're
was
a
no rhyme or
mom,
reason for
Autumn.
that. Okay.
You're a toddler mom. Like it's okay. We give you grace.
Jesus. Okay, so the last 7 pages, right? I had to read them twice to wrap my own mind around everything that happened in this inn. Because,
Yeah.
like, okay, once I had to read it because stopping to type notes felt like sacrilegious. Like, no, no, no.
I
You listen to this
know.
thing full through. Okay. Listen, read. Ladies, I listened.
I'm so jealous. Can
Such
I?
an experience
I
to have these last 7 pages graphic audioed for you.
should I? Can I? Maybe I just listen to this just to give me a taste, a teaser. And when we get through, when we finish a court of silver flames, I will listen to them. I just want to get through first, and I don't want to be sucked in. I know I will be.
So
You got
good.
to listen to it.
Now, the second time, okay, I went through it because these pages are so full of banter and detail. And I needed to like relive it to really absorb it and think through it. Because the first time I'm not thinking, baby. I'm turning my brain turned off. I'm just feeling. Okay.
I'm just letting it happen.
Now, speaking of thinking, we get this thought from Rhysand, right? A thought for a thought. I'm thinking that I look at you and I feel like I'm dying, like I can't breathe. I'm thinking that I want you so badly. I can't concentrate half the time I'm around you, and this room is too small for me to bed you, especially with the wings.
With the wings.
Which remember, he has never done, but he's like considering with her. And there's something so freaking hot about someone telling you exactly what they want, bold, to the point, raw.
Oh yeah, he means business in this moment. Oh my God. And it's she asked for it, right? She was like, point blank, tell me that you're attracted to me. Well, here you go, Feyre. Here you go.
Yes, absolutely. And Feyre knows precisely what she's doing in this scene, right? With those wings, she knows what touching them does. Okay, and the teasing arousal that she knows personally is an intimate trigger to starting something more. Like she clearly wants it.
Oh yeah.
Clearly,
Oh yeah.
right? And him, we're getting into this whole scene, and she's referencing what happened in the Court of Nightmares. Like, I wanted to do that at the Court of Nightmares, but mostly I just wanted to do this. His eyes held mine as he brought those fingers to his mouth and sucked on them. Okay, cue me falling out of my chair, looking over my shoulder, staring wide eyed into nothing for several fucking minutes. I was like, what in the world? Mind you, we have read graphic things in these, but I gotta sit up. I gotta sit up taller. We've read graphic things in these books before, but I would say this is the first moment where I feel like I am reading adult content.
Yes, where
Where
you
I'm
look
like,
over your shoulder and go, is anybody
I
also
don't,
looking at what I'm
I,
reading?
I haven't read this since I read 50 Shades. Okay. Like, can you say, bring that back? Say it again. Okay, fair, will do. And when I
One more
lick
time.
you, I want you splayed out on a table like my own personal feast. I have no intention of doing it all in one night or in a room where I can't even fuck you against a wall. Sir, that better be a promise. And now I need a cold shower. Okay.
We all did. You either needed a cold shower or you went and found your partner immediately and you said, hey,
Hey,
hey.
hey, how you doing?
Oh, so much happens and is said. You're right. You do. You have to read it or listen to it or whatever. And then you got to sit there for a few minutes and let the words and the feelings sink in. And then you got to read it again. Maybe 3 times, maybe more.
Many
Read it
times
out
as you
loud.
need. Okay.
Do what you got to do.
It was so good. And like that's where we leave this section. And I
Ugh.
just felt so happy. I felt so
Yeah,
happy. I was
I
like,
felt
yeah. That was
Something
good.
happy. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
really good. And
And
truthfully, that's how I feel about this entire section. I was like, that was
yes,
really good. I
it
got
was.
everything I wanted. I got depth, I got vulnerability, I got emotions, I got adventure, I got intimacy, unfiltered. It's everything I wanted out of these sections. And
In 10
I'm so
chapters.
happy. Yes.
And we still have, I think we're like 75% through the book.
Yeah.
Like there's
Yeah.
like,
We're
you
going to read
know,
another 10 chapters this upcoming week, and then there's another 5. So we're pretty close.
yeah, we're getting there. But you're right. Like this chunk just feels so good in so many ways, right? Not just the sexual tension, like all of it. And it's crazy. Again, we know SJM, I mean, we don't know. We've only read one book in completion, but she loves the last 100 pages. She's also very good at giving us a lot in a little bit of time. But I didn't
Absolutely.
feel overwhelmed. Like I didn't
No.
leave these 10 chapters being like, oh my God, like that was so much. Like, nope, she gave us exactly what we needed, what we wanted, when we needed it, when we wanted it,
Yeah.
which, like, what's to come, I don't fucking know, but I know it's going to be phenomenal. Just utterly
Absolutely.
phenomenal.
Now, before we go on to some of our other characters to highlight during these chapters, I want to talk about smut. Okay. Smutty books, spicy
Mm-hmm.
books, books with intimacy, books with adult content. Now, the internet will be quick to tell you that ACOTAR, not the smuttiest thing you're ever going to read. Okay. I know that. I've read the
We've
other
talked about
things
it.
on the internet. Okay. I've read some shit that I'm like, I don't know how I feel about myself right now. I don't
No
know. I
shame.
think I enjoyed that, and now I am questioning myself. But this in the large scale of chili peppers, it's not that high. Okay.
No.
But women who read smutty books are viewed a certain way by a certain subsection of the population. And it often comes with the words unintelligent, comes with feelings of um, betrayal to your partner. And I do just want to throw this out there that when I started reading these books, I never felt closer to my husband. And dare I say, closer to myself, because there
Mm-hmm.
is so much more beyond sex in these books. And if you haven't figured that out from reading it or listening to us, it is the tiniest little portion of what we talk about in this
Mm-hmm.
podcast and what's talked about in the book. But even if it was the entire book, there is still so much to glean from reading about intimacy. It doesn't have to be escape, it can be a revelation.
Mm-hmm.
It can be both. Some people need it for different reasons, and that's the beauty of it, is it can be what you need it to be. And I don't think that you're unintelligent or less than because you enjoy romance and intimacy. In fact, I would argue it enhances and tells me more about your emotional intelligence. And that is my
Amen to
rant.
that, mama. Oh, hey, I think we've like briefly mentioned it. We'll bring it up again. But yeah, it's a piece of the book. We love it. Don't get us wrong. Like, do we love those pieces of the book? Yeah, duh. But like you said, there is so much more to it, and we talk about it so much. Like that's the purpose of this podcast. Like, yeah, it's to talk about the smut and it's fun and whatever. But also, what are we learning? What does the heroine, what do these female characters and the male characters, what do they teach us? What can we take away from these moments of vulnerability, whether they're sexual, whether they're emotional, whether they're whatever it may be? Like, what are we taking away from this that I don't even know if this is the right word, but like improves our lives and improves
Mm-hmm.
who we are as people? So then when we go on to read the next book, maybe we can glean something a little bit deeper.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Now, we're going to go on to talk about some more characters that made us think a little bit deeper, or that we caught something about them that we thought was really interesting. And I'd like to start with Morgan. So
Yes.
we have been wondering so much about her through these last few books and chapters. I guess not books. We don't really see her in the first book, so I guess just this book.
No.
And we learn that she is called by the queens Morrigan, the Morrigan from the war.
Italicized.
Yes. I mean, the queens must have legends of her. And she goes on to say, I am the Morrigan. My gift is truth. That answers a lot of questions for me that I've been having, and yet I don't understand anything. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I have more questions
Yeah.
now. What does that mean?
It's
What?
also
What?
unknown and so intriguing. Like both her and Amryn, especially, there's such a mystery. But yeah, this use of
Mm.
the Morrigan. I am the like I'm just like, whoa, what does that mean? Like the Morgan, like I am the Miranda. I just something about that. And like you said, SJM, she italicizes things for a reason sometimes. And the word like Morgan, the Morgan from the war is italicized. What does it
Yes. And
mean?
I mean, beyond that, remember that we've been questioning what her power is because Rhys says, she's who we send in when everyone else is dead.
Mm-hmm. Like
You
what?
send in
What can you
the
do?
what's she gonna be? Tell them all the truth about themselves? Like there has to
Kill
be
them with
more
her
to
beauty?
this.
Oh
There
yeah.
has to be more to this. And I would like to know what that is. Okay. But we do get a little bit more background story on her too. So remembering her betrothal, I guess, to Eris from the Autumn Court. And her father
Mhm.
declared, that she was going to be sold to in marriage to Eris, eldest son of the High Lord of the Autumn Court, Lucian's brother. And Rhys brought Mor before that could happen to the Illyrian camp for a few days. Mor used that time to use Cassian to, quote, ruin her value in her family's eyes, and then had Cassian take her innocence, have sex with her, okay? Which takes away any value that her family sees in her, and I guess kind of like takes away the obligation for Eris to marry her, so he chooses to refuse her. And her family dumps her on the Autumn Court border with a note nailed to her stomach. And Eris finds her, leaves her, and then Az finds her and brings her home. That's what we know so far.
And this like kind of explains that like weird behavior protectiveness from Az a little bit and like the weird behavior between the three of them. But like I
Yeah.
still feel like there's more that we need, especially on the Asriel front. I mean, we learned that like Cassian, is kind of like not upset, but it stings a little. Like Mor's a beautiful woman. She never really looks back. She kind of uses him. And then, and he's had lovers and she's had lovers. Like, it's fine. They've moved on. But, there's that piece of him that's kind of like a little stung by it. So is Asriel protecting both of them? Does he have feelings for more? Like there's just so much and so much in this little bit of her history that I'm like, whoa, like this is, I mean, y'all are old. There's a lot of centuries, a lot of years here, a lot of
A lot of things.
feelings. Yeah. Yeah. But at least it kind of it doesn't clarify, but it the picture's still hazy, but it's not as hazy. It's a
Yeah,
little
yeah, yeah.
clearer.
Speaking of a hazy picture, Amryn, oops, very hazy. But again, we
Yes.
learn a couple more things about her, specifically her blood preference. Because remember that is the nutrients that she consumes is through blood. Um,
Delicious.
yeah, she prefers lamb and goat because they are pure and remind her of another time and place. And human is not her favorite because it's too watery and tastes like what they last ate.
It's just
So,
as like funny to
not
me.
a
I don't know.
vampire, not a vampire.
Or she's the Cullens and they're vegetarians.
but human blood is like the pinnacle. I'm just
I
saying it's
just,
different. That's all I'm saying.
oh
It's
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah,
different
yeah.
from what we have like a
An
assumption
understanding of.
coming into. Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
And then we learn a little bit more about Amryn and Varian, which we're getting vibes for last time. And we learned that, yes, Amryn did get sent that blood ruby, but she also was sent a stunning necklace from Varian that she keeps by her bedside.
It's like so cute.
I think that's very sweet, considering we don't see a lot of sweetness from her.
Right. Also, though, and this is just, it's Amryn's character to a T, her using the blood ruby as a paperweight. This thing that's being held over your head of like your death. Here's your death notice. I'm gonna use it as a paperweight. It's fine. I also loved when we got to go into her house, and it's not at all what you expect, right? It's like worn down. She's moving her furniture a lot. The carpet, the floor is worn. It's not this, like, I don't know, palace that I think you would expect of this very old, very powerful being. And I don't know, I just found that interesting the way that
Yeah.
she lives. I don't know that it
Reminds
matters,
me
but
of when my dog is feeling unsettled and they keep moving their blankets around because they don't like
right.
it yet and they can't feel relaxed. I
Don't feel at
wonder if
home.
she doesn't feel fully relaxed within herself and her setting because it's not where she's from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I just made a dog analogy work for Amryn.
Hey, we don't know what she is.
I know, I'm just is she a dachshund?
Dogs are carnivores. I don't
Stop. Oh my
know.
god. Now
Amryn
I
comes and
will
smites us both.
uh, right. I will say that Amryn's respect for Rhysand, I think, speaks volumes considering how many millennia she has been alive. She
Yeah.
says, quote, "We are lucky to have him. I have known many high lords, cruel ones, cunning ones, weak ones, powerful ones, but none that ever dreamed of peace, freedom, and something better for us all." I mean, wow. I mean, she's right. She has been around for many millennia. She must have seen a lot of examples of what leadership looks like. And
Mm-hmm.
that for me confirms like good person.
Yeah. I also think it says something about Amryn of using we, not you, for us all. Because we have this feeling that, like, if she ever can get out of her mortal shackles, or not her mortal shackles, I guess it's her immortal shackles, her flesh
Mm-hmm.
body that she's in, that they're like, she would destroy us all, or what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But maybe she wouldn't, because maybe she sees this dream of being able to live in peace with people who are not like her. So I also think that speaks volumes to her and maybe what she's looking for. But yes, to the way that we hope maybe the rest of the world someday sees Rhysand
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely. So I have, one more little thing that I noted about her. Um, Amryn is who helped Rhys learn how to manage his power. We learned about, you have to give that off, otherwise it strains you. And that she helped him learn how to build the shield around Valaris. I mean, naturally, who else would have trained him if not her? Because no one else is more powerful than him in the High Lord sector. His dad wasn't able to do it. Thank goodness he had Amryn.
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, we might have a very different version of Rhysand and
Yeah,
Valaris and Prithian
for
and.
sure, for sure. So going on to our Bat Boys, Cassian.
Yes.
Cassian, okay. Dapper Cassian at the Starfall Ball. That's not.
And is a cook. He cooks for them at the
Yeah, he made
Illyrian
that
war camp.
that
And
stew.
like
That's
it's pretty
right.
good. I
I love
love it.
that. Now, Cassian does say to Feyre that her family is full of bossy know-it-all females after he returns from the human lands. Oh, clearly a reference to Nesta because Elaine would never.
No.
Not her.
I love
Okay.
that Nesta gets under his skin. Like
Yeah.
she just boils his blood.
Oh yeah. clearly. And we also learned that both Cassian and Azriel need 7 siphons each when in the Court of Nightmares. And yet, Lord Devlin, the commander of the Illyrian war camp we meet, still calls Cassian a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Like your own people, the people that you represent, despise you, think so little of you that they refer to you as something that is beneath them,
Mm-hmm.
even though you are more powerful than all of them.
Right. And like the power of Azriel and Cassian is so interesting to me that they need 7 siphons. Where did this power come from? Why do a bastard born and because well, Azriel's the bastard born, but what's Cassian? Just I don't know. Weak?
Also, low ranking born. They're
Yeah,
all considered bastard born.
yeah, but it's like so who else could be this powerful among the Illyrians, but they wouldn't know because they send them out to die or kill them or what. I'm like 7 siphons. It's a lot of power. It's a
Yeah.
powerful group. The inner circle is not to be messed with.
Very true. Very true. So then that brings us to Azriel.
Which I just wanted to reiterate one more time. That Azriel's wings are the biggest. Hmm.
Mm.
Hmm.
Mm.
Hmm. Anyway, we can
Thoughts
keep
to
going.
keep in your mind. Now, Azriel holds himself to standards that no one else would. And it took him 4 centuries, it took Morgan 4 centuries to get Azriel to go to Rita's with the gang. 4 centuries to go out for an evening. And yet he still rarely takes time for himself. This man is a
Mm-hmm.
workaholic. Okay.
He's hard on himself too. Like, and I get it. Like the war is looming and the fate of the world is on their shoulders. Oh, I don't know. I hope he gets to breathe a little at some point. I don't know if he can, but
Yeah, I
I
mean, he had a really messed up childhood, so
yeah.
might be a little too deep. I don't know.
Yeah.
We remember last time we talk about like there's a piece of him that has never thawed,
Yeah.
and
Could be broken.
he continues to always be around, waiting or looking for Morgan, who's like this ray of sunlight. Okay, um, but at this point, I can't tell like the way it's described, and because we only have it from Feyre's point of view, I can't tell if he like loves Morgan or if there's something like more suspicious behind his presence with her. And considering his role within the inner circle, that he's a shadow singer. They whisper things to him. Moore is like out on the town constantly without the gang.
Mm-hmm.
Is there more to the reason why he is always watching her? I don't know. I think that perks my interest a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with that. And like there's this quote when they're in the hewn city. He approached Moore's side, standing too close to be casual. And I agree. It's this like, is it lust or love? Is it like protection? Is it concern either for her or for others? Does he know the extent of her power? And so he watches that. Like, yeah, like I'm just so that little like triangle of Cassian, Azrael, and Moore is just there's more. There has to be more. More.
More,
Morgan,
more, more, more,
more.
more.
M-O-R-E. But I wanted to mention too, like just how feared Azrael is. We think Rhysand is feared. We know he's feared. Moore is feared. Like they go to the Hewn City but Sarah J. Maas tells us specifically that most people shirked away from the spy master's eyes, though they trembled as they beheld truth teller at his side. Like, I just find it so interesting that we get this deep description of the way that people are afraid of him and his blade and of what they know he can do. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's an
Ooh,
interesting one. They all are.
very true. Now, on to Nesta.
Oh,
Okay.
Nesta.
Nesta speaking up to the queens and calling them cowards for abandoning the humans in her land. was so powerful. Like, we know she's
Mhm.
fierce, okay? She's so often described by Feyre as a queen in her own right. But man, it was glorious to see her be the first one to stand up to them. And it felt right to me. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, Nesta, tell him how you feel, because maybe you blunt, okay?
Uh, yeah,
Blunt.
that's the word for Nesta.
And
Yeah.
and I will tell you, like, rewatching Bridgerton while reading this book, the parallels are interesting because it kind of is
Hmm.
like the setting is right. Okay. We have in the human world, they have this courting season when they host balls in order to talk to one another. The marriage ceremonies are very similar in how things are, like the description of technology level and even like wardrobe. And I then am like thinking of and what women are allowed to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very similar to a lot of what I'm watching in Bridgerton, and it feels like the same kind of like era, if you will, right?
Yeah.
And so then it kind of like makes me love Nesta a little bit more because we're like, she's supposed to be prim and proper and put together and quiet. And then she just says it how it is.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Mm-hmm.
that.
They're like, let's jump in before Nesta digs us
Yes.
a deeper grave. I don't have much to add. I mean we didn't get a ton of Nesta and Elaine in
No,
this
just a little
chunk,
bit.
but
Oh,
yeah,
but you know what
her
we did get
standing
from
up
Elaine?
felt, oh my gosh. Say
I
it. Say
hope
it.
they all burn in hell. The whole
Okay,
room probably would
Elaine,
have been like, what the? Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah, Elaine. Okay,
Like,
Elaine.
damn. Who did that come from? Like
What?
Nesta? Question mark. What? I It made me giggle out loud, like audibly giggle, because it's like a side of Elaine that I don't think we know she has. She is
Mm-mm.
sweet. She's flowers. She's, garden. I don't get my hands dirty, blah, 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 blah. But she's like, I hope they all burn in hell. I mean, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
say it. Say it louder for the people
Wow.
in the back.
Wow. Yeah, it shows a little bit more depth to her that piques my interest. So I'm
Yeah.
really interested in that. Now, speaking of piquing my interest, we're going to transition into like things we should watch for as we move forward in these chapters. So we've mentioned quite a few of them, but the truth power, what's up with that? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's that orb, right?
And the Veritas.
Filled with truth magic.
And we're gonna use it to show people Valaris.
Yeah,
I'm
I know we didn't even
devastated. I'm
touch on
so
that.
nervous. I'm so
I
nervous. I don't even want
Yeah,
to talk about it. I don't want to
I don't
talk about
like
it.
it.
It
I don't like
feels
it.
not right.
We continue to feel the different ways that darkness behaves according to how Feyre feels it from Rhys. And it made me wonder if is it just she that can feel those changes in the darkness, or are other people perceptive to how it feels too? I don't we
Hmm.
don't really know, or like, does Azriel, can he tell based on the way a shadow feels how Rhys is feeling, or is that just Feyre?
Yeah.
Curious. Something about Starfall disturbs Amryn.
Also, Super was
What?
like, huh, interesting. That
Huh.
seems like something to remember.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, everybody else is out here dancing and laughing as a spirit gets splattered on their faces. And Amryn's like, yeah, this is really fucked up. I'm going to stay inside.
It's not for me. It's not for
Remembering that
me.
she's from another world and they're describing these as spirits going somewhere. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this feels significant, and yet I don't know enough and I want to know more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So paying attention to that. Who tipped Lucian off?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Who?
I said Lord Devlin because we are in the Illyrian war camp area. Lord Devlin
Mm-hmm.
don't like Rhysand or Cassian or any of them, and gives Feyre this look of like bleh, and clearly wants them all to be gone. I don't know. Just a thought, because who else would know that they're there unless it's coming from inside the inner circle, which would be like really fucked up.
Yeah, but like while I can agree with this theory of it being Lord Devlin, this is the second time now. Once in the human realm, outside of her sister's home when the adder shows up. That like and then there's like the ash arrows that are being shot before they go into the hewn city. Like there are multiple times now that their presence is known
Yes, but that's
before this.
because Rhys is using his powers. Like he's using his powers in the human lands. That's what calls them to them. He's using his powers outside of the night court. It tells him where his position is. He purposefully walks and flies and says, I can't use my powers, but you can, Feyre, because I don't have a tracker on you.
See, and
Making me
I didn't
think these are two
think
different things.
and I didn't think he used his powers outside the hewn city because they were just flying. Because that's when Feyre's like touching his wings. So
I
I
think
took
it was
those as
before
the
they
same
left and they like
instance
tracked his position
first. Yeah.
and
Because
followed.
then I was like, okay, so they've been hunting for Feyre. And then I was like, if Lucian shot fucking ash arrows at her and Rhys, bitch. I don't know. We don't know. It could be Tarquin. It could be the Spring Court. It could be Hybern. It could be the fucking mortal queens. Like we don't know. But yeah, I don't know if those are separate or if they're tied together or not. But then I just got to thinking, I was like, if Tamlin and Lucian fucking shot ash arrows at these two,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Pretty bad.
Um, okay, some of the questions I had and things that didn't click. So I want to come back to those blood rubies for just a second because I'm curious then how like these could affect Feyre, affect alliances in a war. I think that that was just something I wanted to like remember and keep at the forefront of my mind. The crown that Rhys wears into the human realm is called the sibling to the one that he has Feyre wear, which like piqued my interest. I also feel like that's maybe insight into how he sees her and her position, like within his inner circle and with her connection to the human realm. And the fact that he has her wear a crown and that this one in particular was sort of connected to his, I found
Girl,
really interesting.
I hope he does not see her as a sibling because that makes a
Well,
lot of other things really
no.
questionable.
They just call the crown siblings, which I took to mean that they are a pair, that they match,
Ah,
that they go
ah.
together. Sarah J. Maas says that his crown is a sibling to hers. Like
Respectfully,
that's
I don't think.
her verbiage.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
her verbiage, not
This is
mine.
not Game of Thrones. Okay.
No, no, it's not. We haven't reached that level. I just think it means that they match, that they go
Yeah.
together in some way.
Fair.
So,
Fair.
this Miriam and Dracon, right?
Mhm.
Dracon, that live together on this hidden island. I want more details on that. Also, Dracon has an aerial army. So, are there other flying fae that aren't Illyrians? Is he an
Mm.
Illyrian? Like that really, I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Aerial army.
Uh-huh. You
We have an
are
aerial army
you're so smart.
who thank you. Thanks. So I was like, I need more there. Also, this black land that we get a little bit of like lore on that was ruled by a queen.
Mm,
In
mm,
the
mm, mm.
past, we had a female leader. Now she was not good. She made Amarantha look as sweet as pie. But I just found it interesting that once upon a time, there was another queen to a court within Prithian because this black land was a court. So I was like, oh, so we've had queens, we've had females in power before. That's not.
Prithian or the continent?
I thought he said Prithian. I thought that the black land was a other court within the within Prithian, but maybe I missed it. Regardless, there are queens within the
Somewhere in
Fey
this world.
world. Yes, where I don't know where the Black Land is, genuinely, guys. Like I may have fucked up, but it was ruled by a queen. And we know it was ruled by a queen. Like this is history. But she was
Yeah.
also evil, so maybe that's like, we don't want queens. I don't know.
Mm.
This quote. He'll never stop looking for you, never stop waiting for you to come home. Lucian says this to Feyre about Tamlin. And so I was like, so Tampon will go to war for Feyre, is what I'm hearing. That he will, Rhysand says, I will rip the world apart. Well, you know what? We might just get there. We might get to see the full extent. We got a war with Hybern coming.
Yeah.
We may have a three-way war about to take place.
It's not the kind I wanted.
No, you can give us the menage a trois elsewhere, Sarah J. Maas, not in this. But I was just like, oof, he will never stop looking for you, never stop waiting for you to come home. And it's like, she's not coming home. It's not her home. She told you she wasn't coming back. It's just adds
Yeah,
to the
you're
the
right.
tension that is brewing amongst our high fae.
So much, so much. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a huge portion of why these chapters were fantastic is because it was a lot of tension, a lot of release, and more built up questions and tension, which helps set us up for what's coming. But before we
Mm-hmm.
can get there, we have to take a closer look at our heroines. And I've kind of noted two this week. Usually we just talk
Me
about Feyre.
too.
Yeah. And, what I love about these chapters is how both Morgan and Feyre reflect two equally powerful versions of survival and growth, right? Morgan with her merry face and her flippant laughter is the woman who stopped asking for approval a very long time ago. And not because she, didn't care, but because she had already seen the worst that her kind could offer and she lived through it, choosing joy and defiance as an act of strength rather than just denial of herself. And Feyre's growth, meanwhile, feels quieter comparatively, but just as brave, coming alive again, right? Claiming her sensual power in the hewn city, and then having enough emotional intelligence to pause and recognize when she acted from fear, when she hurt others because she was protecting herself by pushing them away. There's so much courage in her willingness to look inward and then admit what she actually wants and to accept that, sometimes prioritizing her own needs doesn't make her selfish or reckless or a traitor, that it makes her honest. And together, I really felt like their journeys reminded us that healing can look like laughter, it can look like vulnerability, boundaries, or softness, but at its core, it requires the same thing, which is courage to stop living for approval, to trust ourselves once again, and to realize that honesty and connection aren't dangerous places when we're finally able to be true to who we are.
Yeah. You know that I love to like wrap up with a quote. I'm a huge quote girly, always
I
have
love it.
been. And so often, of course, what we take from our heroines is the same. So I looked to more this week as well, and I wrote down this quote: a queen who had bowed to no one, a queen who had faced them all down and triumphed, a queen who owned her body, her life, her destiny, and never apologized for it. As women, I think it's really easy for us to retreat within ourselves, to hide, especially after, we feel maybe a bit of embarrassment or hurt. But it shows to keep your head held high, right? We learn Moore's backstory. We of course know Feyre's backstory. She's our main female character here, but each of them continue to hold their head high, to not let their crown slip, because we are all high queens in our own right, to be who they are without regret, without the need for approval by others. And I think that's something that we all need to learn. And I'm taking this from more I think, a little bit deeper in these chunks. But
Mm-hmm.
of course, like you said, we see it from Feyre too, that she too can stand tall without the worry now of how others see her, of how she sees herself. And
Yeah.
she's holding herself a little higher. She's allowing herself to feel. So hold your head high, queen and king, and everybody listening. You know, I that's what I took from this little chunk.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Well, I know you want to keep going and
Oh,
you want to turn the page, but we've got to close the book on this episode.
but hey, every epic needs a cliffhanger, and this was one, right? So let's savor the usually we say suspense, but I'm gonna say tension.
Remember to like, share, subscribe, and write a review.
Unless it's bad, and please write us a review.
And before you remove your bookmark, prepare for next week. We'll be doing chapters 49 through the end of 59. Remember that whether you are conquering your own kingdom or just cozying up with a good book, you are the main character of your own epic tale.
Okay, queens, for real now. Put the book down, hold your crown high, and we will catch you on the next page.